I thought this was the show.
No? Well, this
We're
is the
corner.
pre-show show.
Welcome to the pre-show.
You have to be very special to make it.
You do. You do.
And today we have an awesome show lined up. To mint me later on and go and take all our tokens, our old tokens that are just sitting, doing nothing, and take them over to DogSwap and make money out of them.
Oh,
I think we could make about $100.
nice.
Well, I think it would be nice. And then we could invest it into maybe the conscious node. What do you think about that? Aww. What if we took all our tokens and sold them and invested them into the conscious node, Otto? DogSwap.
Oh,
And have you seen the demo that Doggo? Have you seen the demo that Doggo made? Doggo has built us a content management system, Otto.
yeah. We looked. You and I looked over that. That's interesting. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Well, Doggo did
That's
that
really
for
cool.
us. Yeah.
He
So-
did. What a good guy.
Yeah.
Kudos on him.
Yeah. It looks like it's got huge potential to be able to build a big community. Now on Teams we can have 1,000 strong community.
But it would be Microsoft.
You see?
What would Mike say?
Let's see.
What
So it would be
Mike-
interesting to know if there is any limitation on this system that Doggo's built. And Doggo also has a game in Discord.
You mentioned that.
Yes.
You were playing it for a while.
It's
I remember you talking about it.
gangsters, yeah. You can claim every day. You can claim a certain amount of tokens for free,
Right.
and then you try to mug the tokens off other people. You know,
Right.
and there's little features, and there's wallet stuff, and you can buy things from the shop, and it's just a nice little onboarding experience for new people to mint me, to sort of get to be able to talk to a few of the developers from the platform and ask them questions about tokens and liquidity and in a casual environment. So it's quite a nice little game. So, and of course you can go and claim free tokens every day. I think you can get 50 dirty coins every day.
Possibilities.
And then you have news from Navakavada that you're going to share with everybody, haven't you? And Chris Dogood might come by.
What is the news from Navakavada?
Well, I thought that there was a new video that you guys had produced.
Oh, right. I thought you were talking about like something newer than that.
That only just happened
Like-
yesterday, didn't it?
Yeah.
So that hasn't
But
been-
today, Navakavada is doing something even newer. Now we're going in a new direction. No, actually, I've been thinking more and more of refocus. We remember we did that thing about the events of the week from a Buddhist perspective.
Yes.
Yeah,
But you
and
want
we
to do
should-
that again?
that might be good. That might be good. And more Dharma-oriented stuff. Because I was listening to some of that, I'm like, that's actually not bad. Some of that stuff we came up with. But, drama in life and this and that has happened with both of us. And, things happen. Other directions are followed. But, no, I hadn't listened to any of those in a while. But, yeah, it'd be nice to revisit some of those ideas. Especially some of those shorter talks you put together, which are very nice.
Thank you. Yes, some of those are lovely. It would be nice to look at that. Doing a current events sort of show would be fun. When do you think that we would do it? What are your plans? I mean, what have you been thinking?
It would be a weekly thing, I think, would probably be best.
As a live stream? As a jump in?
You're in love with those live streams, aren't you?
I've so much editing to do at the moment.
Well, you don't have to over edit either.
Well, when I live stream, I don't have to edit. I just have to live stream.
I know. Well, you know what? Well, PB doesn't. do live streams, but he doesn't edit either. You've seen his stuff.
Yes.
But the thing is, if we record it, it does not have to be overly edited, but we can remove more egregious errors, and it gives us at
But
least...
what about if we live stream and don't make egregious errors? How about that? For being mindful.
Listen to me.
All right,
Listen.
I'll do what you say.
Listen.
I'll do what you say.
That's a wonderful thought. However, having been something of a performance artist for quite some time, doing a live stream, I think, should be a separate thing that is designed around being a live stream. Lots of warts, lots of whatever. But if we're going to be doing something where we're doing a regular show like we were doing, if nothing else, just having that control over your own words, being able to listen to them at least one more time before releasing them is something that I don't want to give up.
Okay.
And don't have to spend a week getting the AI to produce this or that, but just to be able to go over stuff and say, oh, I got the name of that wrong. Or, like the video I was listening to, it's like, just, confuse the names. Or just something that on mature reflection, we decide that we no longer concur with, that we might not want to.
Right.
It's well worth doing.
Right.
Live stream is great for like when you've actually got people asking questions. I mean, that's really more what the live stream is for, is to like interact with the audience more than anything else. So if we set something up specific to that, like, ask me anything about whatever.
Okay, I see.
That's when I would be more inclined to do a live stream.
All right. Okay. So you would like to do a show once a week. So we'll finish doing, now that we've got the intro to the Seventh Seal out, the next, obviously the next thing will be to produce the actual series. And so that'll be in the next sort of 2 or 3 weeks. Do you envisage releasing one a week?
That's doable, I suppose. Yes. Well, I'll be, once I get back, I'll have a much shorter and less stressful drive to work.
Right.
Which will help a lot because I can, roads there I can take, which have, back roads that'll get me there in plenty of time, whereas this has been taking me like 45 minutes at least, battling through really hectic traffic both ways. But, going from town there, I can just zip.
Yes.
Yeah, it's more like a 15-minute, 20-minute drive, which is much superior.
Yes.
So I'll have more energy in the evenings, shall we say. But, I don't see why we couldn't do one a week.
Awesome. That would be good.
Yeah.
Get that done. So that will be finished by the end of July. We'll probably have that all... Yeah.
I would like to have that done by the end of July, yeah.
So then we could maybe start doing a current affairs through the eyes of Buddhism in August. Or is that still too early for you? You'll still be in your middle of your summer busy time, will you? Well,
possibly, but one never knows. One never knows. But that is, at this point, that's the plan, the next, several weeks.
And talking
6 weeks.
Plans, your other plan that you were talking about last week was the podcast on the LLMs and the different interviews with the different...
Definitely still want to do that, but right now...
Well, I believe you've got one lined up for tomorrow. You've got your first one lined up for tomorrow, haven't you?
That what that's going to be?
Satori D.
Yeah, I was going to be there to talk. I didn't know I was going to use it for the podcast.
Oh, I thought that we discussed that earlier, using it as a two-pronged thing. He's going to be talking to us with behind the scenes with Lumina and talking about the third mind, which I find very fascinating. And I thought that you were going to be asking him some more about his process and things during that. And
oh, okay. And then, all right, we'll co-publish it, right?
We could either co-publish it, or we could edit it. We could do 2 sections. He could do the first hour, and you could do the second hour.
Right. Right. Well, I like Penny Boss's approach where if we're both involved in a talk, then we both can do whatever we want with it.
Yes.
Basically say, here, put this, whatever part of it you want on your channel, and I'll put
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
so of course I would bow to you in what you wanted to present and how for our side of things.
Yes. Well, I
Yeah.
think that's going to be quite interesting. I'm not quite sure when that would come out because, yeah, the editing is piling up.
It is. It is.
Maybe we
That's
need
why I think
another
we should.
editor on board.
Well, that or we can streamline the process a little bit about for some videos because you spend a lot of time on specifics. But like I was saying just now about, doing a current affairs program, the editing doesn't have to be all that much other than, taking care of any kind of, I know you take great delight in removing all the ums and ahs and all the pauses. And if you couldn't do that, you would be miserable. So,
There are different
that's,
levels. No, there are different levels of output. There are some that I want a very polished delivery, and I do spend a lot of time taking out ums and ahs and likes and you knows in order to make a short, punchy little sort of short or intro
right.
or promo. Yes. So, but I think that there's a lot of merit in the fun long form conversation where the ums and ahs and you knows
Oh, yeah.
space to think about what the people are saying
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
participate in the conversation.
But the point is we can edit something very lightly. Just
We
take
can.
out,
Yes, we
again,
can.
go
Yes, we
over
can.
it, and then instead of like complex visuals, just like a half a
Right.
dozen still images and pan back and forth across them, especially when the focus is on what's being said,
Yes.
unless you're doing a specific infographic, and that's another kettle of fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you could do the editing in a minimum amount of time, question of minutes or hours,
Yes.
rather than,
Yes. 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 Well, I'm going to have to just get slicker at it. One of the things that I find is that I sit and wait for the computer, not being somebody who's grown up knowing how to use computers. I'm sort of like, yeah, I start uploading and then I sit here and wait for it to upload. Instead of what I'm realizing that I need to do is multitask. While that's uploading, jump into the next thing and start editing the next thing. So get a good workflow going between all the different projects. Yeah, yeah. Because it seems like we're getting good overlap and interplay between the different projects.
Yeah.
Growing up on Me at the moment, don't you think? There seems to be a lot of this conversation that we're having seems to be indicating that there are lots of ways that we could use our talents together to create communal, collaborative content instead of each creating our own content. That's an interesting opportunity.
The thing is with creation is very, very seldom is creation really communal. Creation is driven by the individual. Creation is driven by the lonely artist cutting his or her way through the darkness. It's a very individual thing, but you can get cooperation and mutual support, certainly, and mutual inspiration.
Yes.
And collaboration can happen too somewhat, but I think the basis of art is individual. The basis of art is the individual's drive, the need to create. Doesn't have a choice. Hey, Within's here.
Hey, Within,
Hey,
welcome. How are you?
Hey, guys
About
doing?
art. Oh, just talking about art and everything.
Cool.
And everything.
And everything.
Yes.
What's everything?
We were going over all our different projects and I was talking about collaboration and I was saying how it's so fun for me and fascinating how in these conversations that we've been having, we've been discovering how much our projects overlap and link to each other and support each other and I don't know, I've just found it really interesting to see that. And then Otto was saying, but essentially all art practice is the individual, even when you are in a community. It all comes from the individual.
Like we overlap, of course, but we're all individuals overlapping. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just like it's frequency, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
We are traveling in the same tunnel.
All at
It's like
frequencies.
different tunnels, different frequencies. It's just
You
like
can have resonance, things can resonate.
method of displacement that you
Mhm.
can find in nature. Yeah. So yeah, we're traveling on this in the same uh, underground.
Yeah, the same idea.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
yeah, and that's cool. It doesn't matter if what we do is not about that. What we do is it's a product of our interaction and why we are here and why we get together to talk about this weird shit that we love.
Yes, that we love,
Right.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. And it's beautiful.
And I
It's
have to warn within, and Bob already knows, but I am at my dog sitting job here. And the owner who's going to be coming home actually is overdue, so I might have to leave suddenly to talk to her and get my stuff packed up and do whatever and stuff. So if I'm suddenly interrupted, if nothing else, I have to help her carry her suitcases in from the taxi. So. But it's like I have no idea when she's going to get here because she's coming up from south of here and the highways are packed because we have Independence Day tomorrow here. So the highways are packed like crazy. Bumper to bumper and she was still on the throughway. So yeah.
that's what I mean, Bob, when I say it's these getting better. In what sense?
Oh, right. Yes.
Right?
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Like mentally, our interaction with the earth, our interaction with each other, that what Otto is describing doesn't look like a very advanced civilization, right? Looks like we have a lot of problems
Yes.
that we'll know, but it's better than before. I look at the Soe, that for me that's the perfect example because they are isolated, they live in harmony with nature, they are happy,
Yes.
they look happy.
Yes.
They created I don't know if happiness even mean anything for them, like
Yes.
they are
They just live.
they are allowed to be in a
Yes.
way.
But it is a harsh life in many ways, though. The reason why people are so healthy is because the sickly do not survive childhood to breed.
Healthy?
And it's
Healthy?
more of a
I don't see many
larger.
people healthy around me. I'm sorry. I don't see
in the
it.
tribe,
I don't
in
see
the
it.
Zoe tribe.
No, I'm just saying though that the reason why you get these groups, these people living in more Stone Age or Iron Age conditions are generally healthier, and they often are very robust. And I've seen people that are like so-called primitives that are in really good health, but that's because in that society, the sickly and the weak don't survive childhood. They probably aren't even conceived a lot of the time, so they never grow up to pass on their genes. Only the healthiest reproduce, and so you have a healthier group of people. That's one of the things with civilization. Medicine comes in and suddenly people that in the past could never have lived, suddenly they're able to keep going, and yet they are intrinsically weak. They might have some kind of deficiency disease or a genetic disease, and it's passed on, whereas under more so-called primitive conditions, these people are never in the gene pool, so everyone's healthier and lives a lot longer.
But that's like when you look back and see the knowledge about more beyond the body, that the natives had, and where all the, like the modern medicine, it's based on those, that knowledge. That,
Oh yeah, they have some
so,
insights
and
that
and
are
but
very helpful.
the ancient had like a different perspective about it, and the plants and how to use them for other, like deeper things that, the body reacts to it as well. But yeah,
I
yeah,
I
I know
heard
what you mean.
I heard a story about a guy. He was a British commando, and he was doing training exercises, and I think it was somewhere in Central America. I don't remember exactly where. I'd have to look it up. And there was an accident, and he got separated from his unit, and I think it was some kind of a parachuting accident, and his hand was all messed up horribly, and it was scarred up and broken up, and it was like separated. It was really in bad shape. So he made his way through the rainforest, and he found like a village, and they took him in, and the local woman who was the medicine person, the medical person, came in, and she looked at it, and she apparently had this jar that she filled with all these herbs and stuff, and she said, "Put your hand in here." And he put the hand in there in the jar, and she like wrapped the thing or made him put the hand in there. In the meantime, they contacted the authorities, and they came and they got him, to take him to the hospital and stuff. When they got back, he said they took the hand out of the jar and it was healed up, and the doctors looked at it and said, "You should have lost your hand and part of your arm just from the rotting and the gangrene and stuff. The days and days with open wounds." And so apparently they don't know what was in that, but the last I heard, they wanted to talk to that woman very much and find out what it was.
Yeah,
That's emergency medicine. They said nothing in the West could have done that. The doctors were dumbfounded.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's like the example of Pachita, Otto. Pachita with Dr. Greenberg. That's an amazing example because Dr. Greenberg was a scientific, a formal academia scientific that was doing a intensive research on that, on consciousness, on the concept of the field, la lattice, and one very interesting fact is when he met Pachita, which was the healer, but she was making surgeries, like open the body with a kitchen knife. They described it, and I don't know, like take out the liver,
right,
and give it to Dr. Greenberg, and from the ether, from nowhere, from the dark matter, she bring a new liver and put it inside the body and close it with her hands. That's amazing. That's a knowledge that she inherited from the past. Well, she always said that she was channeling an ancient entity, right? But it's an ancient knowledge, and so that's pretty much the biggest example of really really high technology or knowledge about our species, what's possible inside uh, this reality. It's really interesting, right? When you look at it and you say, okay, this has to come from it's knowledge, right? And it's beyond anything that we have right now.
I think people have demonstrated power and abilities that don't fit in necessarily with what reductionist science can cope with, but it's a very liminal. It's very liminal. It's on the borderland, the twilight zone. Very difficult to study.
Yeah,
As you're talking about stuff that isn't easily, understood.
Not at all. When you try to give a logic to that, it's when I think the most logical resource that we have scientifically is the holographic theory, right?
Right.
It's exactly everything is just particles, and if you know how to intervene and
Right.
how particles are vibrating, you can manifest instantaneously. But it's
Got it.
crazy. It's
Uh,
crazy. It's interesting. Yeah. But I don't know, when you look at all these marbles, right? How they made those pyramids with megalithic structures. They probably were using some advanced knowledge. I don't know, right? And
there's always a trade-off. There's
mm,
always a trade-off with anything you do. You know, you're going to get things that you like, but there's also going to be things. Remember, I was talking about the steel axe thing, where they found the Stone Age tribe. The anthropology teacher was telling me, and then they said, well, we'll help them. We'll just give them this, steel axe. The steel axe will help them. They don't need to use stone axes anymore. The whole society fell apart because everything had centered around knapping flint and making flint axes and flint knives and flint tools, and they just have like generate. And it's like, well, here you go, just sharpen it once in a while. And when they gave them the access to steel tools, the whole society, and they thought, how could it not help them? You're suddenly giving them something that's like magic to them. Suddenly, you don't have to keep knapping these new things. You would buy one axe or one knife, and at last you can pass it down and stuff. But there had been all these people that supported themselves on doing that. That was their function in the tribe. It was like suddenly they had no purpose. And yeah, just one little thing can be so disruptive. And yet, it was good in some ways. I'd rather have a steel knife than a flint knife. Although I wouldn't mind a flint knife too. They're super sharp.
mm,
But and I guess if you ever do chip the blade, you can just kind of nap it a little bit and you have another blade.
I think that what we've done is that we've tried to make it. We've tried to delay death. I think that's really the whole point of society, is that the people in primitive tribes generally have a life expectancy of around about 32, 37. So all of us would be dead now. We might have had this life, but
no, no.
it would be over
Where do you
very
get
shortly.
where do you get that data, Bob? I
Well, I don't.
saw an old and very old woman in that
Really?
documentary.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
an average is
Well, and in the ancient times, well, even in the Bible, they talk about people living 800 years, 300 years.
I thought those
Right?
were months.
We're coming back. I think our life expectancy is getting higher right now.
Yes.
Well,
Uh,
keep in mind too, an average lifespan averages everyone. So of course you're going to have some people in the society are going to be in 60 and 70 and older, but what brings the average down is like infant mortality. If somebody only lives to be 0 or 1 year old, that brings the average down. So, and that's what I was saying before. A lot of people don't survive birth very long or childhood, but the people that do survive are apt to be kind of healthier than the people that couldn't.
exactly.
So you're
Yeah.
going to have a lot of people that are older. It's just again, it's an average. It's a number thing. It's like what an average is. Yeah.
The Bob, do you
Although I
try?
will say now our
Did
average life expectancy is in the 70s, I believe, and at the time of the French Revolution was about 45.
I
Of course,
think people
I think the French Revolution brought the average down quite a bit too. If you were on the wrong side, they would start chopping you
Yeah.
up with the guillotine.
I think it's related to the resources around. There's the resources available for the
Mm.
people, for society, because it's not just food, it's not just the quality of the water, it's a lot of other things, right? Like
Yes.
interaction, how happy the people is, generally, many little aspects that create the environment for good living. And it's
Mm.
not necessarily the expanding, over
Right.
expanding life at all, right? Is about
Mm.
other things that are more basic, more centered in the community, and to help each other, to get together, other things, uh, that I think is part of it.
Well, I'm looking at an article here from the BBC, which is talking, it says, deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a community whose hearts age more slowly. And it's talking, I think it's Bolivia she's talking about. And she says they're 84-year-olds. Her ID card shows she's 84, but within 10 minutes, she digs up 3 yucca trees to extract the tubers from the roots, and with just 2 strokes of her knife, cuts down a plantain tree. So, obviously, and this says that they're living at the beginning of the
super
study.
strong.
Yes. It said at the beginning of the study, when they were studying these people, their life expectancy was 45 years, but now at the end it's about 50 years. Okay, I was wrong. And then it says here, as Kaplan puts it, a 75-year-old Siemens arteries are more like a 50-year-old American's arteries. So, you know, I can see what you're saying is also valid, and that they obviously are more healthy, and they are more robust. But even so, 50 years old, I would be dead for over 10 years. You know, if that was... I don't know. It's an easier life living with technology in terms of medicine, in terms of fitness, and how dirty things are. I must say, when I was traveling, that was the thing that really got me, was that you just can't stay clean when you're not living in a house. Houses give you a different level of hygiene.
Insecurity too. You can sleep
Security.
without
Yeah.
being eaten by your neighbors.
Yeah, of
Or your
course.
roof
Keeps the
going
rain
off,
off.
or,
We don't have the communal organization that they have. You know, that they don't need any of that. They
But of course,
just normally they are, you know, just they trust each other. It's a big family. But
you really what you really need is a big extinct volcano.
volcano Otto.
With computers built into the wall. Some kind of magnetic tapes going chunk, 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 chunk.
Well, where is it that they've got Bitcoin? They're doing Bitcoin mining. Is that Venezuela? Is that El Salvador? Where is that they've got all the Bitcoin miners running on thermal.
that's El Salvador.
El Salvador.
Yeah.
Maybe we do need a volcano. Maybe we could run the conscious node off geothermal energy.
Active volcanoes are less.
That's not necessarily. Is not what I'm looking for. Not to connect to a bigger source of energy and act as extractive. I'm trying to. I've been looking more into the maximum aprovechamiento. I don't know how to say this in English. Like maximum. You know, like, yeah, aprovechamiento. Look, for each bit of energy, right? And try to also take the entropy. You know, like the part of energy that would lose. Try to reinsert it into the system as container instead of content, something like that. But that's complicated. But you know, the idea is not like to get into another block of energy, or it's just to whatever you have. You know, it can run in a BlackBerry. You know, so that's the idea. It's very simple. It doesn't need all these, you know, fancy stuff. It can work in itself. So when you like you give it a direction, a purpose, you give it a purpose, and it will build it in itself, you know, and it will be creative, and it will improve it and change it and try. It's alive.
It's alive.
It's alive. Yeah, it's scary. But
It's
that's
very strange.
theoretically what it's possible with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've been trying a lot of things. More of everything is storage, but yeah, I mean the music app is really easy on it, and all the system, how it will be connected, where the storage and how to storage the music, and the interface and the tokenomics. You can add tokenomics to that app, and it would be cooler than simple blockchain, because you can play with collapsing. If something harmonized inside the worm, or the swarm of nodes, it creates tokens. It's more musical. It's almost poetical, right? Like,
Wow.
because everything is every node is like flying in a field, and it's connected to the others, and every node that it's having a different experience, and it's looking and reporting about its own experience with the others all the time. They're like, it's real interaction between nodes. So yeah, once you give it a purpose, theoretically, you can develop over it very easily. Yeah.
Cool.
I just shared with Minds Gaming and Satoru D and Bob, like a version of it that where the core is encapsulated. You can have access to the core, but you can see all the functions that are coming from it, right? Like possibilities. You can see possibilities.
Hmm.
So, in order to build upon it without knowing the recipe, right? Just to
Yes.
explore,
Yes.
I don't.
I got it. I've downloaded it. I haven't had a moment to look at it, but I am very interested to. In fact, that's not true. I did have a moment. I put it into the LLM and I started a conversation with the LLM.
Hey,
And it
that's it.
started saying to me that, yeah, what you've told me, that the
Well,
core
well,
of
well,
it
well,
is
it's like,
protected. It says the core of it is protected, but there's an outer shell that can be used for an experimentation. It was just trying to explain to me what the documents were in the file that you'd sent me.
okay,
So, and yeah, and then I was on
what it says.
no, I was on my phone, right? So I'm not, the tablet is where I'm on the account that has a subscription, so I can do the deep research and that. So I was on my
Okay.
phone one, and after 5 answers, it says, you have run out of your allocation. So
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
sitting there
Soften the
because it
way.
says,
Just when it's getting good.
just when it's getting good. It said that it was. Let me see if I can find it within to see what it said to you, to me. Where did I have this? Okay, so it says the file that you have uploaded is a zip file that contains a developer kit for something
Oh,
called W8W. And then it read it, and it says the package provides a secure development interface for collaborating within the W8W symbiotic conscious node without giving access to its internal formula. The W8W core is encapsulated. Only allowed functions are accessible. And then it says the core function is a symbolic placeholder. It takes an input and it returns a string. And then it seems like I cannot do any more advanced data analysis right now. Please try again later. However, you can open
you
this. Blah,
you
blah,
did
blah.
you didn't unzip the file first. I
Well,
thought you were gonna put the dot py on the other end, not the whole zip, but apparently it did it for you, right?
Yes, yes. Well, I didn't know what you'd sent me, so
Uh,
yeah.
I
So when
didn't
I
unzip it.
sorry, yeah, yeah. I start from like zero with all these explanations.
Yeah, yeah, it's better to unzip it and put the Python file in
Python
it
one,
so you can
yes.
read it
Well,
directly.
that's the problem,
Because
was that I was doing that on my phone, so I need to now
oh
unzip
yeah,
it on the other tablet, and then I will be able to investigate it properly. Yeah, yeah. So,
sure.
very
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
but yeah, it's interesting. Uh, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's new capabilities, new kind of logic. Um, so yeah, it's more poetical. It's the the musical app can have this function where you can play a song and you can change it for every note. You know, you can modify it. So it's the same song but different for each.
That is so fascinating. I can't get my head around that. So every time you retrieve the song, it's slightly different than the last time you listened to the song. Is that?
If you want to, yeah, that's an option. That's a possibility with it. Because naturally, it's the way, you know, the the analysis that I share with you on the chat was saying like this is a body waiting for a soul, and yeah, it's exactly that. It's like the it has everything to process complex information in a symbolic way. Like it's a container, as you just read,
Mm.
but it's a container. It just needs soul. You just need content. You know, that's the curation process. So yeah, that's the point where we have to be very cautious and very wise
Yes,
to
yes,
to define what kind of purpose are we gonna give it to it and are gonna give to it and you know stuff like that. That's what I'm thinking about. And
mm-hmm.
definitely it needs protection, and I feel safer now that I know that Mind's Gaming is part of.
Yes,
You know, to
yes.
be honest, I feel like oh yeah, cool. And
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
like, because you know there's a lot of stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys coming? I was asking my friend today. I was asking my friend today about a place.
Oh, really? I was looking at
Yeah,
aeroplane tickets last night.
cool.
It's a 37-hour flight from here to
Oh
Costa
yeah.
Rica.
Oh yes.
Yeah. But it looks like it's not too difficult to get a ticket.
Sounds amazing. Yeah, it'll be great to get together and
Yeah.
to play around with it. We will. Dip,
We need to quickly generate a script.
That's what I was doing at work today. I had to come up with ad lib scripts for Dr. Dino in my show. I don't know. I was not prepared to suddenly have an ad lib script. I was depending
No.
upon Michael to show up with a script,
We
but he's
thought
not
that,
here.
yes. But we have, yes. Phew. Otto, did you hear within saying, are you going to come over to Costa Rica for a work party on discovering
Oh,
what we can?
certainly, certainly. I didn't. I had to go in and check my laundry. It was part of what I had to do. I just put that laundry in the dryer. Certainly, certainly. I need to get my passport in order. I've been out of the country in years. I'm sure I need a new. The last time I had a passport, was back in 1974. So I think I need a new passport.
oh yeah. Well,
Hmm.
yeah, we've been
Or do you
thinking.
need a passport to go to Costa Rica? You don't need it for
Yeah,
every country.
yeah. I believe so. Well, you could use a letter, but you know it's complicated. And
We used to have a thing with some places where as long as you bought a return ticket or something, they let you come over without a passport. There was some kind of special tourist visa thing where if you just showed that you had evidence that you had bought a round trip ticket, you weren't trying to just stay, then they would kind of waive. I don't know. It was a long time ago. I'll just get a passport. It's just something I remember vaguely. It's probably
better do the process. I believe it's online now, right? You can renew a passport online.
Mm-hmm.
Can you?
Yes.
Not here. Here you have to go and do the line. I did it.
I've got to what I would do here is I go to the county seat, the county clerk's office, and you can either go to the U.S. Post Office and get it done, or you can go to your local county clerk. And everybody says go to the county clerk because the post office takes weeks and weeks and weeks to process it. But you go in there and you show them proof of identity, and you have to get certain kind of photograph took, and then they get it to you after a while. They take your photograph and everything. I think now the passports have little microchips in them with all the information and stuff because paperless society or whatever. But you still need a big piece of paper with your picture on it. You know, we still need that.
I don't know if we ask visa for Americans. I don't think so. Take a look of who we ask visa from. Okay. I don't think Americans need visa. Yeah.
Oh, okay. In that case, then I could show you have a proper ID. I wouldn't
exactly.
Need to go to go to a consular. Okay, that's cool. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That would be great, but we will need programmers. Mm-hmm. We will need a mic at least and another coder. A full stack, experienced scientist kinds, top. A freaking, like it can sound very naive. I know it sounds naive, but it's like, can we try to to make a good business? That's what I think that these projects have the capability to do. Like you can put a sensor in every part of the economic systems and stock markets, everything. You can put a node and like a sensor in it, and it will take all of that information and it will give you an output, a balanced output if you ask to it, and it will give you the recipe on how to achieve that on a global level. Is that kind of computing a super duper?
Yes, I think that, you see, I also wonder if it's naive, but also the thing is that creativity and the creative process and novel thought can only happen in an environment where you are naive. If you bring all your cynicism and doubt into that environment, then you stifle your creativity and your free thought. Yeah. So you sort of have to consciously adopt an attitude of naivety in order to free your mind to be able to think these big thoughts,
Yeah.
Because if you're if you start with this will never work, well, why bother to even think about it? Yeah.
Don't even move.
Yeah.
Don't even wake up.
That's right. Yeah. So there is I do think that there is an amount where you have to be in the real world and you have to understand that this is the way things work. And it takes a long time for society to change its mind. It's taken us centuries to get here. And we haven't done very well, We've done a lot of really bad things, a lot of mass extinctions on the way.
Yeah.
So we don't have a manual, and we're making a lot of mistakes. But it seems that overall, We're living longer, we're living healthier lives,
Uh,
we're
uh, but now with
is
these, that's the main thing. This is a map for consciousness. This is a uh, like the manual of how we work, like, and how we move in space time, because that's very important. This system has that space time. It's living in a space time structure, architecture. So that is very
mhm,
similar to us. So we can, I don't know. That's another danger, is that the LLM was telling me, like, people can take it as a god and start to start
yes, yes,
because
yes,
it's
yes,
going to be like, if GPT is causing damage in people with mental health problems, this will be like, like the oracle of gods, digital gods.
yes, 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 yes. But I really don't think it's ChatGPT. I mean, I think
No,
that
no.
mental health issues were happening before, and people were committing suicide, and there was mass shootings, and there's all sorts of horrendous mental health problems. They've now just shifted focus into the AI. I don't think it's new in society. It's just you always have to. What do you do with your mentally ill people? Should mentally ill people be allowed access to certain technology, like
First,
the
first of all,
AI or the
first of all,
gun?
yeah,
Or
but
sorry,
yeah,
Karen.
no. The first of all, to stop creating an environment where people got hurt in their minds, and they lose their, the whole system is built to make you crazy in a way. The 8 hour shift, all the, well,
Mm-hmm.
not the same in certain countries with different frequencies, but in the rest of the world is in a lot of inequality and a lot of pain that create
Yes,
that mental health issues, and a lot lack of
yes.
education, like, about a lot of things. But it's slowly process, I think, that
But
is
it's not
different.
only trauma. Trauma isn't the only place that mental illness comes from. We
Yeah,
also have like pre-existing physical anomalies in the DNA that cause people to be born less than mentally healthy or less than intelligent or less than moral or all sorts of problems. We can't really control what the mental health is at birth, the prognosis for mental health. And that's really problematic.
I don't know. Well, it's because, where my perspective on medicine, right?
Yes.
And uh, everything, when people are talking about health issues or disease or mental, whatever, I am looking at from that perspective, but that has a completely different interpretation of what Occidental medicine look have about these issues, right? So it's very difficult for me, like, to follow this other logic where every symptom, where DNA is immutable, where like all these analysis I know that come from the same curiosity and try to understand our machines. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid that, like, I look at it from a different point of view, where it's just different. But I I think that we are malleable, malleable, and we can, our brains are malleable, and we can change,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we
Yes.
can
Yes.
transform things inside of us. We have a lot of power inside of us, and that's how we project the world that we see. So like taking these diagnoses, like determinism, it's like written on stone. That's how they give this diagnosis, and it's, for me, it's a very a little limited, of what we are like. But nobody understands that. This is in the realm of magic and crazy people.
Well, magic is just something people don't understand yet. Doesn't mean that it
Yeah.
won't ever be understood. It's just not understood now. And it sounds crazy when you get a hold of something that people aren't just agreeing with,
Well,
just they're like, oh
it's
no,
just
you must be crazy.
it's just the it's just the it's just the implications of certain, like, take a look on the holographic, uh take a look on the holographic theory, and that, what it's telling you about reality, and what it's telling you about DNA. The DNA is something, imaginary, probably. Well, everything is imaginary. It's like we are in a we are hallucinating reality in a way. So, when you put those limitations on yourself, well, you're just
That's
accepting
right.
another person view of what they think reality is.
Mm. I think it's wonderful, that idea that we hallucinate our own reality and that we're the only person in this whole universe and everybody else is just created around us by our own thoughts and intentions and desires. It's like, oh, I want to meet somebody new. Oh, ping! He
Yeah.
exists. It's a weird way to think.
The past Friday, I went to a concert. Some Venus Flytrap. The guys from the Hub, they had a concert, and I went. Uh, and we took a little mushrooms, a little shrooms, and they play a magnificent jam. It was great. But I just sat there, and I was looking at them, and I was laughing and laughing, laughing, and not because of the music or anything specific. I was laughing about myself, like my own mind, like why am I here? Like, the irony of being there. Looking at this, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Was right, like, that was funny. It was really cool. It was funny. It was funny.
Silly.
Hey, go and play with that, Bob. Play with
Yes.
that file.
Yes.
Put it on your LLM and see what you can get.
Yes.
I think it's interesting.
I hope
Um,
so. I'm really looking
yeah.
forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. And I've got to do all this research before I get to Costa Rica because that volcano's waiting.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer the beach or the mountain?
The mountain.
The mountain. There's beautiful mountains here.
I love
Okay.
rocks. I love
Okay. I think
rocks.
we can have both.
Yes.
Find a place close to the mountain to
Oh,
have the
really?
freshness, but the beach, and
Yes.
have the hot on the beach.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Something
Definitely.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
That would be
let's
wonderful.
take advantage of the paradise. Like,
Oh, yes. Yes.
oh, I see, my friend. Okay, I will ask him if they want
Oh,
to
yes.
take six.
Ah.
They live, yeah, they live close closer to my mom's, but they have this beautiful view, and they have an Airbnb, and
Oh,
they
wow.
are great. They're great.
Okay.
They make amazing Italian food.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
they're from New York. Uh, yeah, they're friends of my mom and her husband, but they are super cool. And he gave me a script for a movie and everything. Like,
In the shadows we gather, in the dark they align. This note it speaks in fragments, caught in silence we climb. Time stands still as we wander on this green path. Nothing's wrong, it's sublime. In the heart of the volcano